This podcast is a Tom production recorded on Aboriginal land.
The most brilliant, successful, famous creators are so awkward in person. But on camera, on TikTok, they have 10 million views being like, blah, blah, blah. As a creator, I think it's so important to create an IP, to create a show that cannot be easily replicated. Even when I'm writing the script, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the one that goes.
Welcome to Process the Podcast, a meeting of creative minds. Let's dive in. I'm so excited to chat with you because you are such an important part of the creator economy. And I'm so proud that we have linked up because the fact that Process has gotten to a point where Jordan from Spotify Australia is linking me with people is a bit of a milestone for me, which is so fun. So I want to go through a top line. How would you say what you do?
I say when I'm meeting someone new in the industry, I'm a trend forecaster, marketing content creator that now has a long form show that I film at Spotify. That's usually what I say. But I say once I say trend predictor, it's oh, that kind of clicks for people.
Yes. And is your audience primarily on TikTok?
My biggest audience is on TikTok because I have over 1 million there. But I would say my most engaged audience, the people that reply to everything, DM me constantly, would be Instagram and Substack.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got on Substack early too.
Okay. Yeah. Is that how you think that all this success has kind of happened, from getting on things early?
Yes. I truly think that even before I was a creator, my marketing job, I explain it as being the cowboy that goes into the Wild West and is let me just figure out the landscape. Yeah. I don't have to be good at it. And then I'll just come back and then I'll tell the smart people what to do. Here's what I saw. You guys figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how did all of this start? You had a job in marketing.
So I went to San Diego State and I got a marketing degree. And then I moved back to LA where I'm from. And I saw a job on Craigslist that was we need someone to do marketing, but it didn't have the company name. And I was just I need a job in marketing. I just applied.
And on Craigslist?
On Craigslist. This was before, this would have been 2018. So it was kind of before Indeed and LinkedIn were a huge market. Okay. So you kind of just had to find jobs through a recruiter or Craigslist. Okay. So I went on Craigslist. I found this job. I applied and they didn't say what the company was. And then they had me show up and it was in Santa Monica and it was the inside was hot pink and it was Famous Birthdays, which is a website where they document people's birthdays. Maybe it's not as big in Australia. It's pretty big here. So I was there and they needed someone to run what was called Musical.ly at the time, and then Musical.ly changed its name to TikTok. Yeah. Okay. So this is early. I was running the TikTok for Famous Birthdays when videos could only be 15 seconds long. That's how throwback it was. And they were basically if you see anyone that you think is going to get famous, just invite them in. So I really learned from Famous Birthdays how to spot talent early, because Famous Birthdays they were one of the only media companies at the time catering to Gen Z before Gen Z was even people were saying that word. Gen Z would have been in middle school and earlier, and then they were the only ones interviewing the Dance Mom girls or TikTok stars.
Right.
This girl Jules LeBlanc, Annie LeBlanc, was massive back then. Not a lot of mainstream media was interviewing these Gen Z kids, and so Famous Birthdays and Fight House were the only two media companies doing it. The founder, Evan Britton, he's so smart. He's if you see anyone that you think is going to get famous, just invite them in.
Invite them into Famous Birthdays.
Yeah, to interview them and get the first interview. So I saw one girl on my feed one day and I'm I feel there's just something there. Invited her in. She flew out with her dad. It ended up being Charli D'Amelio. And
wow.
Yeah. First ever interview with Charli. One of those videos got 45 million views on YouTube and just blew up. And part of the reason was because the audience was saying that they'd only seen her dance videos. They never heard her voice. So it went viral because people wanted to know how she talked. So we were kind of, and then it was Addison Rae and Brittany Broski and the Hype House and the Sway House before they got kicked out by the mayor of LA. So it was these people that were on the brink of fame, and me and my team were getting them in and interviewing them. And I'm okay, I have this really good eye for talent or trends. There's something here that I'm really good at spotting. And then I'd applied for an internship at BuzzFeed and I actually didn't get the internship, but they reached out like a month later and they were like, hey, we saw on your resume that you've run TikToks before. Like no one's doing that. Like, can you just come over and run our TikTok team? So even though I didn't get the internship, I ended up getting a way better like full-time job with benefits, just running their TikTok team. So then I was at BuzzFeed for almost 4 years, helping build out their TikTok team, which then ended up becoming the short form team because then it was like Reels and YouTube Shorts and Snap Spotlight. Yeah, so that's what I did corporate. So that's kind of how I honed my skill of like trends, like using platforms before they were famous. And I even remember there was one girl that I knew from college that when I was at Famous Birthdays and I was running the TikTok, I think I posted something about it maybe on my Instagram story. And this girl was like, if you're an adult and you're on TikTok, like you're a certified weirdo, like you shouldn't be doing that, like blah, blah, blah. And I remember being like, oh my God, maybe she's right. But I'm glad I stuck with it. And then years later, she DM'd me and was like, hey, can you help me run my TikTok? I'm like, girl, I remember what you said. But yeah, that's how I got into the trend predicting.
So when did you decide that you were going to put yourself in front of the camera?
So it was funny because when I was at BuzzFeed, I had a rule for myself that I like never put myself on camera at BuzzFeed. Like if you look through any BuzzFeed video, like I was never.
Why did you not do that?
Because I was under the impression, and I still think this is true, that I was hired, like my job at BuzzFeed was to run their TikTok and their social short form.
Yeah.
And if I started posting myself, I felt that I would not be using it, like my goal would no longer be to like run the account for the audience. I would just be trying to get famous, like on the backs of a media company. So I always tried to like separate church from state. I was like, I'll never post myself because like my job is to do it for the audience, not me. It was on my lunch breaks though that I launched like my own TikTok. That's where I came up with the name Coco Mocoe. And I didn't think it would like really go massive. It was just kind of like a creative outlet for me. And I started by, I still love this, but I would do like tarot and like astrology. Like that's like my favorite thing. And I was posting these videos and they started to gain traction. But then I remember the day and like where I was sitting, I posted a video just being like, here's why I think like the Tumblr grunge aesthetic is going to come back. And I was like comparing it to like the Hailey Bieber clean girl that was currently trendy. And that video like went so massively viral and just like changed my life overnight. Within a week I had a talent manager and within 2 weeks I was like in New York City at conferences, like speaking to like audiences. So my life changed the moment I posted a trend prediction video. At times I'll be interviewing people or talking to someone just not in a filming context that's like has 5 million followers on TikTok and I'm like, why do you think you became famous? And they have no idea. So like sometimes these creators are at these conferences and they can give some insight, but like they don't always necessarily know why they went famous. I always try to have that like corporate lens.
So when was it that you started with the trend prediction piece? So then obviously that video that you predicted something, when did that happen where you were like, it may be back in the BuzzFeed days, maybe at Famous Birthday days, when you're like, I predict this and it's probably going to happen? Because to be able to predict something, it's kind of ballsy, right? To be able to be like, my thoughts are, and you will all see.
Yes. And there's been times where I feel like I've definitely like probably been wrong. I think also like now it's at a point where you kind of like speak it into existence. But like I think now like brands and stuff sometimes look at accounts like mine and like Girl Boss Town and they'll use what we're saying as like a catalyst. But the reason that I really believe in what I was saying when I was at Famous Birthdays and I was interviewing these people that were then getting super massive, that was kind of where I like gained my confidence to be like, there is something I'm good at spotting. I think there's like one specific trait I look for if someone's going to become famous or a trend's going to become famous. I call it like social proof. Okay, say like there's a new artist that we both like that only has 10,000 followers, but we're like, okay, are they going to become famous? If someone else starts talking about them that's like not their friend, not their coworker, not their family member, like a totally different third party. Like there's this girl, Adele, who's an artist who's like becoming massive. And she came on my show, but one of the reasons I knew that she was about to break is because Charli XCX like started watching her stories and things like that. Like it's like, okay, there are indicators. Social proof. Yeah.
Right.
So there's certain like things that I look for that I'm like, okay, I know this is like probably going to happen. It's like just kind of seeing the writing on the wall, but it is ballsy. And I do understand like to a certain extent, like you kind of just cast a wide net and like eventually some things will go viral. You know what I mean? Like it's like eventually, yes. But I really do believe in the things that I'm saying and the things that I'm predicting. And I do think that like over the course of time, like I feel like my videos have spoken for themselves. And I do think that I've gotten a lot of things accurate.
I've had a really interesting like money journey recently because I've taken a lot of accountability in my business. I was sort of treating the film production a little bit like a hobby because I wasn't very good at cash flow. It's been 8 years in the making now that I'm very proud of myself and I can say I'm a businesswoman.
Yes.
With that comes a lot of friendships with people in like VC and all of that. Your ability to predict is like kind of an incredible little unicorn. And I'm like wondering in the back of my head, are you in touch with like anything beyond just pop culture with this kind of like, I'm able to see that this is going to blow up so that people with investment dollars and stuff like that can go all in?
Yes. A lot of what I do also is not on camera, and I do have conversations with people behind the scenes. I don't know if it would necessarily be considered like VC. My conversations would more be like record label people being like, should I sign this person? Would I get a return on them? And then me being like, yes or no. So I would say it's not necessarily, I do have friends that have like launched apps and I know people that are in that world, but I've never had like a money exchange consulting conversation in that world. It would be more so, I do a lot of more consulting on the music side. Yeah. That feels more of like an investment for them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So when you started doing all of your stuff and you were still at BuzzFeed, when did you go all in and leave BuzzFeed?
So the first time I posted that one video that like changed my life, it was August of 2023. And then I stayed at BuzzFeed until June of the next year. So I was still there for almost a year because one, I wanted to make sure I saved up money because like you never know how much runway you're going to have. Also, like I loved working at BuzzFeed. Yeah. I loved working at Famous Birthdays. Like I feel like some people that come from corporate, maybe they come from a bad team and they're like, let's burn the house down, like, F this, like, I'm going to become famous and, like, F all of you guys. For me, it never felt that way. It was, like, I loved working at BuzzFeed. They were so supportive of me. Even when I was, like, posting videos on my lunch break, like, they were so supportive. So I wanted to stay there as long as I could. Yeah. Because I was also, like, making good money. And I was like, I don't want to walk away from this. The reason I left in June was because it had gotten to a point where I was turning down so many like brand deals and consulting gigs because I was like working at BuzzFeed and that was my job and I didn't want to have any conflict of interest. Yeah. But I got to a point where I was turning down so many things that I was like, okay, I think I have enough like leverage to do this full time. And then I remember the day that my last day at BuzzFeed was on a Friday, and then Saturday morning I flew out to Cannes Lion and was like a speaker at Cannes Lion, which if anyone works in marketing, that's pretty big. Yeah.
That's the biggest.
So that was
you
my
don't get bigger than that.
Right. So that was my first day as like a full-time creator, was like in France. Yeah. And I even remember like on the flight.
Bitch.
Yes. Yeah. I even remember on the flight being nervous that I was like, is this going to work? Am I making the wrong decision? And then some girl that worked like high up at Pinterest was like, you're Coco Mocoe, like I know you. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm on the right path. Like I felt like affirmed in that moment that I'm like someone who's like really good at their job at Pinterest knowing me. In the beginning, I had such like a, what's it called?
Like imposter syndrome?
Yes. Yeah. Because I would have people comment and be like, what are her credentials? Like, is she even qualified to talk about this? But now I don't have that anymore. I'm like, my videos have spoken for themselves. Like, if you don't like it, don't watch, don't care.
Yeah, wow. So when did the deep dive start?
Are you referring to like me talking about why creators went viral, or which ones did you like? Which themes did you see?
I think forever ago I watched like the Emma Chamberlain one where it was like, whoa, like, and you went fully all the way back, and they were like we were essentially watching a documentary by Coco Mocoe.
Yeah,
like, that's what we were doing.
Yes. It would have probably been 2024. So like I first went viral on TikTok doing the trend predictions, and at that point I was doing 1-minute videos because that's what would go viral. Yeah. And then the moment that I got into like the creator program where you make money, your videos had to be over a minute. So then I started making longer videos. Probably 2024 is when I had like marketing podcasts and I was doing like really deep dives and like those clips would probably come up on the feed where it was like a high quality setup and I'm like talking, would literally map out the timeline of people's careers. So like Sabrina Carpenter, Emma Chamberlain, that would have been like 2024. And I did that for like a year.
It's crazy how quickly it can all change.
I know.
That like, oh no, that was me back then. Now I do this. Like,
yeah, I know.
And to what we were talking about downstairs, how creators can move so much faster, which is insane. So I think I watched some stuff on YouTube. So were you also in the YouTube space doing the deep dives?
Yeah. So it was like long form podcasts. YouTube. I guess I would say that the moment I stopped doing more of the YouTube deep dives is when I became like a creator at Substack, because then I had like a financial incentive to just keep the deep dives behind a paywall on Substack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you removed.
So that would have been last year. Yeah. Like 2024, 2025 is when I jumped over to Substack.
It's so interesting how all of this.
There's so many ways to monetize, but then it's like, am I doing it wrong? Like like you're constantly thinking as a creator, like, what am I doing this correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that moment where you were getting a little bit tired of talking about people and you wanted to go directly to the source.
I feel like that's something that a lot of people found me from my like deep dives, my like trend predictions. I feel like if you're constantly like talking about people, even if it's positive, you're never really going to be in the room with them. Like you're always kind of setting yourself up as like a spectator.
Yeah.
And I made a promise to myself last year when I launched my show Middle Row, or I like really started diving in and like filming at Spotify and stuff. I was like, I don't want to just make deep dives about people that I think are going to get famous or like why they got famous. I was like, let me just get in the room with them and like have them tell me their story. And I think that's like a bigger flex. I mean, the deep dives are important and I think it's like part of the ecosystem. And I love watching videos where I love if I'm like on TikTok and then I see the videos about to be like 5 minutes long. I'm like, oh, perfect. Let me go brush my teeth and like listen to it like a podcast. So those videos are important.
Yeah.
And also part of the reason I stopped doing as many deep dives is I was like, there's so many brilliant people in this space. Like the marketing pop culture genre is like in good hands. Like I'm such an Aquarius. I was like, how can I bring something new to the table? Like everyone's saying the same. Oh my God, Sabrina Carpenter wore a blue corset. Like, what does this mean? Like, who cares? Like, I was like, we're all saying the same shit. Like, who cares? Who cares? Like, how can I do something different? Even if it takes time to get there. And also, I'd gotten to a place where I think it was part of like your frontal lobe developing, where I was like, I don't necessarily have an opinion on everything anymore. Like, I don't always want to give my opinion. I'd said this to my audience a few times, like, I don't have to give my opinion on everything happening if you guys know what my values are. Like, I don't always want to feel this like pressure to speak on every single thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And so that was also why I pulled back a little bit too. Especially like in America, it's just a really like, you can put a target on your back as a creator. Like if you like speak up for certain things that used to be like very welcoming and like, I feel like it's like scary to even be like pro like LGBT or like there's certain things in America that it's like it's kind of scary to speak up on certain things. I guess like what I'm saying is like I felt like I was chasing something versus like creating my own gravitational pull.
Yeah.
Like I think of the internet and I think of it so metaphorically and almost like spiritually, and I was like I can tell at times when I'm chasing something else versus when I'm like more centered and I think the most successful people are centered and like the internet almost comes towards them versus them chasing whatever's trending at the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
I love that. So when you started your show, how did you decide that that's what you wanted to do and why the music industry?
Okay. So for the show Middle Row with Coco Mocoe, I was like, I remember I was journaling one night at my old apartment and I was thinking about, I'm obsessed with shows like Chicken Shop Date, Hot Ones, which they used to film at the BuzzFeed campus when I still worked there. And it was like the coolest thing ever. Like whenever there were Escalades in the parking lot, you knew they were filming Hot Ones because like those celebrities had like the red carpet rolled out for them. But anyways, I was obsessed with shows that took celebrities and like put them in a setting that you would never actually see them. Like you would never see Jack Harlow on a first date at McDonald's. That's why it went viral. Like you would never be sitting next to Ariana Grande at like a wing stop while she tries the hottest wing. Like that's why it goes viral. Like it's really fascinating. I think it's fun for the artists to film. And so anyways, I was like, the advice that I give clients and stuff when they're trying to come up with a format is I'm like, what's the one thing that you would be doing whether a camera's filming or not? Like that's authenticity. I hate when people like use that buzzword, but I'm like, it's really doing something. Like if ice skating is really popular right now, so you just start ice skating because you think it'll go viral, like you're not being authentic. Anyways, and I was journaling, I'm like, what do I do? What would I do every day if I could? And I was like, I love going to the movies. So I was like, boom, movies. I was like, no one has a show in a movie theater. Like, now it's like, because it is harder to pull off. Thank God I have a team around me. But I was like, no one has a show in a movie theater. My mom, and whenever I tell it to like people that are like in their 50s. They talk about some show called like Siskel and Ebert. It's probably such an American thing too, but they would give like a thumbs up or thumbs down, and they would sit in a movie theater. That was big like back in the day. And so I'm like, okay, if that's my only competition, like I can fucking do it.
Great.
Like no one's doing it. Like no one's doing it. And then I originally wasn't going to do the music industry. I was originally going to do like movies and shows and like speak to actors. But then when I went to like book the theater and like book the video crew, I had to pay by the hour. And I remember being like, just logistically, I was like, okay, if we're watching like a TV show, I need to pay for like an extra 2 hours. But I was like, what could be quicker? I was like, oh wait, music videos are like 2 minutes. Yeah, so I don't have to add any time to the crew. And so it was like a financial decision to do music videos. And then it ended up working out because music artists like are a little bit more nimble. And I think there's a lot more music artists than there's like a lot of actors, but there's only so many shows and movies that come out every year. But with like the music industry, there's like hundreds of songs that are released every Friday. Yeah. So there was just like a bigger
Every
pool.
Friday?
Yeah, Fridays, at least in America, is usually when they like release songs. Yeah, Fridays.
Would have never known.
So I was like, okay, so I can like interview more artists. And then it just happened. I do want to get into like actors though this year, like interviewing more actors, directors, things like that. But the music artists worked out. And then I was filming at a theater in Hollywood. And then eventually Spotify reached out and was like, do you want to use our theater on days that we're available and you're available? So now we film it at Spotify. And then it's like everyone wins because the artists that are coming in, they then get to speak to like the Spotify music team. Yeah. And like kind of that's important for them to get playlisted. Great leverage usually.
For you as well.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah. They come in, even if like, because like the show, I'm always saying it's like, it's not viral yet, but it will be. And I'm always like, the reason that so many artists like take a chance on me is like, one, a lot of the artists that have come on were just fans of my deep dives. Like, yeah. Which is amazing. Like there's like certain people that like follow me on TikTok and I'm like, what? Like they're like massive, but I'm like, oh, they're following me for my marketing videos. Yeah. That gave me a lot of goodwill. The other reason is like that. And then they just want to be at the Spotify office and be in like for artists, it's like a lot of kind of this cool factor to say that they were at the Spotify office.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So it like works out.
So from creator to creator, how do you work on your show now?
Booking an entire episode, like what's the process?
Yeah.
Okay. No one's ever asked me this question.
And who else is involved in it? Because you're like, I've got a team, a Spotify working with you just out of goodwill because you're cool and they're like, great, we're not using it. Let's just invite this creator in. Are they kind of doing that just as a thing or are they charging you or?
No, they don't charge me. Okay, so the way that booking an episode goes, I'm like emailing teams right now that we're booking. But essentially what happens is say that there's like an artist that I'm really interested in. For anyone listening who doesn't know, like the artists I've had on are like Jade, she was in Little Mix, like Adela, Eli, Journal of a Doll, like Toa Bird. I try to get this like kind of cool, edgy, like, I don't know, like I think that there's a certain vibe that I'm curating. But anyways, what happens is either I'll see someone on my feed that I'm like, I think they're going to be massive. And then I'll reach out to them. I'm always so grateful when they have an email in their bio. I'm like, yes, that's the best. So if you guys want to book someone, if they have an email in their bio, that's always amazing. You know, someone's like really famous though when they take the email out. Like I'm like, oh, they've made it. Like you can't reach them anymore. Anyways, so I will usually, me or I have a producer that works with me. I met her through, this is so logistical, so I guess your audience will like this, but like I met my assistant producer through a podcast studio that I used to film at, my marketing podcast that I found on Peerspace. So I would go in and she would be the one manning the cameras and stuff. So when I had the idea for Middle Row, she was the first person I reached out to and I took her out to lunch and I was like, here's the show idea. Like, here's what I want to do. Like, are you down to like work with me on this? And she was like, yes. So that was the first person. She's still with me. So me and her will reach out to an artist. And then if they're interested, the next thing we ask is like, okay, are you based in LA? Like what days are you in LA? They're based in LA. And then from there, I'll reach out to the Spotify team and at the same time Spotify. And then I'll reach out to, we have a video crew and they're the ones that like have like the high def cameras and like the mics and stuff that I also met them through a Peerspace filming session. I just really like hit it off with the team and the guy that owns it. When I first started filming Middle Row, we were filming it at a Hollywood theater and I just had like a camera I bought at Best Buy and we would like hit record and go run in the seat and like hope that it's recording. Like it was like a hot mess. Like please, I'd be like looking at the light being like, is it red? And then we had like these little mics I got on Amazon that were like so bad. But I think the quality, like the episodes still speak for themselves and are still some of like the most watched because it was just cool people coming on. Once like I started to make more money as a creator,
Yeah.
then I was like, let me invest this money into middle row. And so I started booking the camera crew. I'll figure out a day that Spotify Theater is available. I'll figure out, is the video crew team available that day too? Is my assistant producer available? Is the artist available? Am I available? And then also we have a photographer now that comes and takes cool photos of the artist. Because I was like, if they're going to share about it on their Instagram, like I want it to look editorial and like cool. And like, I want it to like be something that they enjoy and like get something out of filming. So then we'll figure out a day all of us are available. And then once we book it, we will just start like, I'll usually talk to the team about, are there any interesting facts about them? Like getting the questions ready. Mm-hmm. We film. And then after we film, we send it over to an editing team that's based out of Denver. And then they'll like edit the whole thing and send it back. It's a lot of moving parts, but I really feel like the quality of it is like going to be worth it in the long run.
How long have you been doing it for?
Oh my God, we're actually coming up on 2 years because the first episode was in April of 2024, but we've only been using the Spotify Theater for maybe a year.
And then how many, are you doing it weekly?
No, we do it like once or twice a month, but we do want to start doing it weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually like, now another way that we get artists isn't just through me reaching out. Now we have relations with record labels. Yeah. So like you interview one person that's at, for example, Republic Records, whatever. And then when we're filming, their whole team usually comes in because they all want to meet Spotify.
Yeah.
So then you'll meet with their team. Through that, the record label will then start sending me their roster and being like, are any of these people? Too.
And it's so fun because you're nice. Like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
I'm like on the circuit now. So like when they're like, how do we get these guys exposed in Australia, a brand or whatever, when they're starting to do like launches, the PR will just email me directly and be like, hey, we've got this brand new brand, and like, it's really nice to know that you're being mentioned in those rooms as like, okay, let's think about the PR plan. Like what comes to mind? Who should we get in touch with? And it's like, oh, we should do middle row. Like that's just.
It's such a compliment. Yeah. Especially if you already worked with them. Cause then it's like, for the first time, it's like, oh my God, they might hate it. But like, if they come back for seconds, I'm like, yes, like we did it, you know? Yeah.
Can we talk about the girlies with a dream, you and I, with the investment that this shit costs? Oh my God. So is your show monetized?
My show is monetized, yes. I just got my first sponsorship, which was Linktree.
Amazing.
I love Linktree. And then they put me in like, it was like a collage of other creators on like a billboard in Times Square, which is really cool. But so that was my first sponsorship, was Linktree. It has been like such an investment.
Isn't it wild? And you're just like, I believe in it. I believe in it. I believe in it. Like it's going to hit. It's going to hit. And then you're like, do you have a time that you're like, I can do this until? Or are you just like, no, I'm just like, I know I'm going to continue working. So like, it's fine.
I'm just going to keep going because a lot of my income is from like brand deals and consulting and stuff. So I don't necessarily need middle row to take off right away. Like for me, I'm able to sustain financially with other things. Yeah. So like I actually, when I was at Cannes this year, I was talking to Amelia Dims was there, Chicken Shop Date. And like there's like a few people that are like my like godfathers of content. It's like Amelia Dims, Girl Boss Town, Robin Del Monte. Anyways, I was talking to Amelia's team and I was like, one of them knew me, again, like the goodwill, but like one of them knew me from my content and was even subscribed to my Substack, which I'm like, that's crazy. But anyways, she was telling me like, just keep going because Amelia's, it took her like 7 years to really get like, and I was like, oh, okay, like 5 more years, like got it. But like
5 more years,
I was like, yeah, awesome. But like, it really is an investment. Like for me, every episode probably costs like over $1,000, like maybe $2,000, depending on like how much editing and stuff we're putting into it. So I'm able to just sustain it with other things. But it's like, I really believe in the high quality of the show. And like something that we were talking about earlier was that I like feel that being a creator, so many people become famous every day. It's like very saturated, which I think is the amazing thing about it. I love that it's like democratic and like anyone can become famous. And it's why I make marketing videos because I really believe in the power of the internet. But like as a creator, I think it's so important to create an IP or like to create a show that cannot be easily replicated. Yeah. Like it's one thing to go viral, but like people can just replicate that formula. And that's happened to me where like I've had videos that people have said like verbatim. And I'm like, damn, like it kind of dilutes the audience I might get if people are just saying the videos verbatim. So middle row in this movie theater show was a way for me to be like, no one's doing this. Like it's so unique and it's hard to pull off. Like now it's not as hard to pull off, But like in the beginning it was hard, but I was like almost excited that it was hard because I'm like, then they can't do it. Like other people can't just do this. It's like difficult to like figure out. So I'm always obsessed with like not being replaced, I think is like where my mind goes. So in terms of like the money investment, I'm okay with it because I'm also like, obviously like when I was at even like a BuzzFeed, you kind of learn how to move quick and nimble with like lower budgets. Like that's just like how the internet is. So I do think that I do have that scrappiness about me, but like I also am okay with investing because then I'm like, you know, the other 10 creators that make content like me, maybe they won't be able to replicate it as easy.
Yeah, for sure. Have you had that experience where somebody's replicated what you do and therefore you're so hungry to make something that's not replicatable?
Yeah, that happens. I would say like when I was doing trend predictions, because those videos were so unique that there were people that would literally like verbatim be like reading it like a script almost that I had said. Yes. And what really got me, I never really wanted to punch down because if they were smaller creators, like they're just figuring themselves out. So I never was like scorched earth about it. What really got me, I feel like I talk about this in every podcast. Like I need to bring it up to a therapist instead. But like I would always feel a type of way whenever it was a guy that was copying my video. And like my comments would always be like, what are her credentials? Like, why is she allowed to speak about this? Like, and at the time I hadn't said where I'd worked before. I always kept that really private until after I quit BuzzFeed. But because I don't know, I was always like, if I get canceled, I don't want them to like go after my boss or something. So I was always quiet about the BuzzFeed thing until I quit. But when men would copy my videos, there were no comments that were like, what are his credentials? Where did he work before? And I'm like, why are you questioning me and not him? Like, why do I have to prove myself every day, but he doesn't? Yeah. So there were times, but I never was like scorched earth about it. I just really felt that it was like when someone copies you, unless it's like a bigger creator or brand, when it's someone smaller, I'm like, they're kind of just figuring themselves out. And a part of figuring yourself out is like mimicking what's working until you find your own voice.
Do you ever reach out to those people that copy you?
Well, like, one of them was a friend.
Familiar.
Yeah. One of them was like a friend. We ended up having like conversations about it where it's like, maybe we should like separate our content a little bit. But you know, no bad blood there. I think it was a little more awkward actually when it's like someone you know like in person. And I've heard that happening to other creators where it's like you'll be in an event and like it's awkward because like you had just had to like set a boundary with someone that's there who like was like verbatim copying your. So it happens all the time.
It happened to me last week. We put out something on Instagram. One of my mentors copied the exact graphic. And I was like, I'm so flattered. But like, if it happened again, I think I'd say something.
Yeah, it's hard to say something.
It's like, because what?
It's hard to say something because it's like now you're kind of the aggressor, even though it's like they're the ones that kind of like stepped on the toes. It's like you look like the bad guy.
Yeah, very interesting.
That's crazy.
And I sent it to my team and I was like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And they were all like, oh my God. It was insane. Anyway, let's talk about strategy. When you were doing deep dives, how long did that take you? Like, I can imagine that would have been very time consuming to do.
Okay, I'm going to go based off of doing like a marketing podcast episode. And then like I would usually pull clips for TikTok from that. So it would usually be like a day or two of research because I really wanted to get it right. Like I feel like whenever you're reporting on someone, and one of my like, I don't know if it's an insecurity, but I have dyslexia. So I'll sometimes like say people's names wrong. And I always feel bad about that. But I'm like, but I want to get their story as correct as I can. So usually like a day or two of research. And my goal, even when I do middle row now, my goal of every video I make, even if it's like a 30-second talking video on TikTok, I always say I want the audience to walk away learning something new that they haven't already known about the topic. So when I was doing research, I was always like listening to other YouTube videos or TikToks about the topic and being like, no one's covered this yet though. Yeah. So it'd be a day or two of research. Usually filming would be like half a day, editing probably a day or two, and then pulling clips would be another day or two. So maybe like a week. But then like the final product that the audience was seeing was probably just TikToks that were pulled from the longer form video. Yeah. But, you know, I do think though, like you get like the muscle. I don't know if you feel this way. Sometimes like for me, even when I'm writing the script, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the one that goes viral. Like this TikTok soundbite. Yeah. And so you kind of like, you start to know like what's going to work and what those like moments are. And that makes it like quicker when it comes to editing because you kind of have like a mental note.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So how did you take that whole process of you having done all the deep dives and being really familiar with that into now? I guess I want to talk about strategy of like when you think of your own show, because when I think of process, right, I could give you the entire business plan. And it's a business plan, but it's like sort of like, and then this is where we'll continue to go go, these are the partnerships that I would love to start to move into. We've got like a physical space in Sydney happening where people can come and like co-work. It's basically, and I would have announced it by the time that your episode comes out so I can chat about it. But basically I took a lease in Sydney because I'm always there and for work, and it has like a Murphy bed in it, you know, those beds so I can sleep there. But otherwise it's just going to be a podcast studio that's super aesthetic because there isn't one in Metro Sydney. They're all kind of out towards the airport. And when you've got like who I would consider somebody of a certain ilk, I don't want to say, hey, come out to the fucking airport.
Yeah.
Like that's such a drag and like time out of their day. So I've got this beautiful space. The business plan among it is to invite podcast listeners to come in and like work from there if they want to co-work or like hang out and actually do the IRL thing. Also rent it out as a space that people can use for whatever they want to. And I can kind of like do the whole song and dance of where I want this all to go. How do you think about strategy?
I would say, like, for me in the show that I'm doing, one of like the major goals that I have, like you were saying, like your studio is like something you're building out that would, it sounds like it would be like maybe passive income. But like for me, I'm really obsessed with down the line launching like a CPG brand, like consumer product goods. So like this water would be like a
hello.
Hi, how are you? The water is like a CPG brand. For me, part of the reason that I launched Middle Row was because there's a couple like business things that come to mind. One, we eat the artist's favorite movie theater snack every episode. And I'm like, one, that's great for brand deals because food pays a lot of money. Yeah. Which I learned when I was at BuzzFeed. Like food is the one product that people have to eat multiple times a day. Yeah. So like it's recession proof. There's a lot of money in it. So I'm not a cook. And I don't want to like learn to cook. I don't care. But I was like, okay, but I could get Cheez-Its in here. I could get like eventually I could get a brand deal with like Coke or something. But I eventually would love to launch my own CPG brand. That would be a way to integrate it into the show easily. Another thing is I really want to get into like doing events, like throwing events and stuff. And I feel like Middle Row is a way for me to align with like showing that I'm kind of like aligned in this like crowd or this like I have these people around me that I feel like have this edge to them that's really cool. So like doing events. And then also another kind of way that I look at my content in Middle Row is like I have a Spotify playlist, and I've turned down every offer that's come through because I want it to be right. But like record labels and stuff will pay for Spotify playlists placements. Right. So like that's another way. So there's like, I don't know if that answers your question, but just like building out like different, so like CPG branding, food branding is something I'm like aiming for. And I felt like Middle Row was a way to integrate that. And then, event space and like little niche things like Spotify playlists.
So you're looking at your career as like a curator.
Yes,
well.
A curator. That's like the word. Taste. I always say like I'm not the most talented or funny person in the room, and I'm okay with that. Like, but I can spot that. Yeah. Like I can like identify it in other people, and there's so much money in that. Like people are like fascinated at like figuring out what's next.
Are you looking to also do the Amelia Dims thing where she's also on the red carpet and she's interviewing and doing all of that, and they know her because they came on her show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love to do like the red carpet circuit, but yes, I do want it to be only once I've reached a level that like I wouldn't feel awkward or like they would know me or like there's some sort of like interesting like leverage there, because red carpets are like so chaotic. I don't know if you've ever done like insane. And I'm like, I would only want to do it if it really made sense for me. But I would love to eventually do, red carpet hosting. I would eventually love to invest, like almost like what Alex Cooper's done with Unwell. Yeah. Like, I think for me, if I ever had like the business structure around me to like invest in other creator shows or something that like, I think they're going to get famous. I think there's something there. Like, I feel like that would be cool. I always say like, what I do, I love, but I don't really want to be in the public eye for a long time. Yeah. That's why I even chose like a name that's not my actual name. Cause then I was like, the day that I'm done, I can just like retire it and like no one can find me. So I don't know that I'll be in the public eye for a long time, but I did have an astrologer tell me things that he predicted, this was like 3 years ago, have come true. But he said that I was going to be famous for exactly 18 years and it's going to start in my 30s. So I was like, what happens on the 18th year? I was like, wait, T. Yeah. But he said that it's going to start in my 30s and I'm 29. So I turned 30 like in 4 weeks.
Shit.
So we'll see. But I'm not like
But I think you are famous now.
I'm like
you mean more mainstream. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really know what he meant. He didn't like specify. He was just like, you haven't seen anything yet. I was like, good or bad? He's like, you're going to be in the public eye for 18 years. And at this time, my trend predictions were going viral. So I was like, okay, I'm like on year 1. And he's like, no, it hasn't started yet. It starts when you're in your 30s. And then I also had like a palm reader once, like when I was getting my nails done. This is like when I was in high school. This guy was doing my nails and his dad was like a palm reader in Vietnam. And he was like, you're going to be famous. I'm like, what? He's like, it's in your palm. I was like, oh, so who knows?
Does that stuff lead you? Like, are you kind of, do you, I guess, hear that and you're like, well, we're going to keep going then?
Yeah, it is. It's like, ooh, like inspiring.
I really want to get my fortune or like go to tarot or like do something along those lines, but I don't know where to go in LA.
Do they have them in Sydney or no?
Yeah, but like I'm here for the rest of the day today. I fly out back to Australia tonight. I've got to check out of this hotel room at 12:30. I've got the whole afternoon. Where should I go?
I know. I feel like I see like signs for them and stuff. You should just like.
Did you just walk into a random one?
So I did a psychic reading in New York City recently, and I went on TikTok and I looked up like New York City psychic, and then people were leaving reviews about this one in Greenwich. And then like I looked at the Greenwich one and they had a phone number, and I just texted them. I was like, "Can I come in for a reading today?" And they were like, "Yeah, come at this time."
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, so you should try
that's
that.
Wait,
oh my God, that'd be fun.
I'll let you know what happens.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
Imagine if we went after the show. That would be so funny.
I know. If I didn't have something after this, I'm like such a sucker for all of that stuff. Like one of the parties I want to throw is like on February 13th, Saturn leaves Pisces. And I'm begging my team. I'm like, we have to figure out how to throw like a We Survived Our Saturn return party. Like, I think it'd be so, and like have a tarot reader there.
That would be amazing. So how does your team work with you in your goals? Like I have a partnerships manager now in Australia, and with budgets, and as I was saying before, a little bit about the Australian population, brands don't have a lot of time to just come up with the ideas, and then the agents in Australia are not necessarily like responding, being like, she'll be good for it, she'll be good for it, she'll be good for it. We're kind of reversing it. So I'm coming up with ideas, being like, hey, I want to do this. My manager's like, put a deck together. Then we send it and say, hey, this is a niche idea that we want to execute on. Can we get this done? And then they'll be like, we don't have budget, or actually we love that. Let's do it for Mother's Day, or whatever they're doing. How does it work for you?
Yeah. So for me, I have 2 people on my team that I talk to daily. Like I always tell them I text them more than like my mom and dad and friends. I guess he's kind of like a talent manager. His name's Rick. I've been with him for over 3 years. Mm-hmm. I'm at this talent agency called 16th. So like when I started going viral with my trend predictions, a few different management companies reached out around that time. And what I loved about Rick was that in our meeting, he wasn't like, you have to do brand deals all the time. He was like, I think you could have a career, like also, even if you don't gain another follower after tomorrow, like you could have an entire career going to conferences, and like people would pay to just have you speak, which that's been like amazing. I've been with Rick for 3 years, and then he has an assistant. So him and it's like one other person that's like, I'm in a group chat with them and we text all day about different brand deals constantly. Like I love having them. They help vet all my emails. He takes a percentage of my brand deals and he's the one that helps like facilitate them. So yeah, when it comes to like brand deals and stuff, that's who I work with. I also have like other people that I talk to often are like the assistant producer of Middle Row, who she's kind of outside of, she's not on my brand deal team. Yeah, those are like probably the 3 people I talk to the most. But yeah, my talent manager is like he's like the one that helps run the ship.
And are the deals coming to you direct, as in, hey, we want Coco to do this? Or are you thinking and being like, we need Cheezels in the show, let's reach out to Cheezels? How's that working?
The brand deals, I think it's inbound and outbound. I think that's probably how it's working. A lot of times also is like a record label or someone will reach out to me, like an artist or even like a brand, like a fashion brand, and they'll reach out to me in my DMs or email, and they'll be like, hey, like we just want to pay you for like an hour of your time to just consult. And so usually what I'll do is, if it's really easy and low lift, I'll just do it directly.
Yeah.
But like if it's like they want to contract me for 3 months to like be on set with them and like be really hands-on, that's when I'll bring my talent manager on to take a percentage, and he's the one that'll figure out all the logistics for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I hate the email planning side of the business, so he really helps me with that.
When you get brought on as a consultant, what does that look like? What are you literally doing?
Yeah. So it's usually there's like low level and high level. And also I'm really picky with consulting. Like I left a lot of money on the table because if it's a brand like I don't necessarily like care about, sometimes I'll be like,
It's very hard to do strategy and stuff for something that you're like,
if you don't care.
No.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm like, there's really brilliant people out there that would care.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just take the money and like half-ass it. So usually the way it'll look is like on the lower lift end, it'll be a team will reach out, whether it's like an artist or I'm always shocked at when I started making my videos, I didn't think it would push me so far into the music industry, but it did because my background was more profiling and working with like TikTokers, like the D'Amelios of the world. So usually if it's lower lift, it'll be a brand or a artist. Sometimes artists will DM me like on TikTok, on Instagram. They'll reach out and they'll be like, hey, like I love your ideas. Like, and usually if they have a music video coming out or an album coming out. So there's usually like a specific time frame that they need help for. If it's on the lower end, it'll be like, okay, we'll just pay you for like an hour of your time. And we're going to like run through, you know, what we're doing. Like usually they'll send me it before the meeting so then I can have my thoughts ready.
Yeah.
And then I'll hop on a call and I'll be like, okay, don't do this, or like try this, try that, whatever. That'll be like a smaller low lift end. Or if it's like a fashion brand, sometimes I'll go into the office and just meet with them for an hour and they'll just ask me questions.
That's so interesting that it's just like an hour of your time. It's so bite-sized, but it's sort of like I guess you're just like dotting the I's and crossing the T's of like, yes, it's almost like they need you, to be like, you're okay, you're going to be fine.
Yes. You know, and you're hitting the nail on the head because I'll get to that too, is like the higher lift end will be like an artist or someone, they'll be like, hey, we have this thing coming out this summer. Can you be hands-on for like 3 months or whatever?
Yeah.
And depending on how much they're paying and or also if I really like the artist, I'm like, they don't really have to pay that much. Like I would just love that connection sometimes. So it depends on kind of the relationship there. If it's a friend, sometimes it's a little different. But then sometimes it'll be like, there'll be a few months where if that artist like calls me, like I'll be there that day, like on set with them, talking them through things or just meeting with them in the studio if I'm like around. Basically, like I'm getting paid a retainer because it's not like I'm hitting a certain number of hours.
Yeah.
It's like they just want me available to answer calls or to text them and what I've noticed though, a lot of times it's not even like giving marketing advice. I almost feel like I play more of an emotional role than anything because I think being creative is so emotional that I almost think that like in some ways I felt sometimes like an older sister to some of the artists I'll work with where they'll just call me and be like, can you just be in the studio today just to be there, like just to have someone there. So sometimes I do feel like it plays that kind of role that I was not ready for, which I'm okay with. It was like the analogy I used earlier, like you can be the best hairstylist, but you can't always cut your own hair. Like it'll just look a little weird at certain areas. Or there's this girl, Fluently Forward, who I'm friends with. I was on a phone call with her once and she's like, you can't read the ingredients list from inside the jar. And like, that's such a good way to look at what I do is like, sometimes for me, I have to help people by just giving them like an outside perspective. Because even if they're doing amazing, sometimes they can't really understand it because they're so in it. And I even noticed that when I talk to music artists on Middle Row, I'll be like, why did this song go viral? And they probably have the least clue out of anyone in the world. They're like, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
So I kind of in that perspective. Yeah.
So when you're doing the consulting, let's say like for an artist, or is it better if we give examples? We don't have to say names, but if we were to talk through an artist or a fashion label, which one is kind of
an artist. I work with artists the most.
So when you do it, are you coming up with like ideas of TikToks and being like, this is trending this week, let's hit da-da-da-da-da, or are you like more
like holistic?
Yeah.
So I would say for me, the advice I give, and I tell them this when I'm like getting ready to like sign on the dotted line and like work with them, I'm like, my advice is going to be very unconventional. I've had clients before that are like just paying me to just tell them what the 3 trends are on TikTok that week. And I'm like, like you guys could kind of find this just by Googling. Like sometimes I'll tell them that. I'm like, I don't think you guys actually need me anymore. I think you're fine. So sometimes it is that more like telling them trends, or even with like music artists, sometimes I'll be like, oh, this is trending right now. Like I'll like text them and just be like, you should post a similar video, but like referencing this music video or whatever.
Yeah.
And like sometimes those will actually do pretty well. But my advice, and I think they know this when they hire me, is I always tell them, like, I'm very unconventional. I look at it more holistically. Like, don't do this trend because it'll look too desperate or it'll look too accessible. You as an artist, you need to be more mysterious. You actually need to pull back. Like, you actually shouldn't post for a month. Like, for me, I feel like my advice is like very, if anything, I'm usually giving them the advice of like, don't do that trend. I hate when people just do trends to do trends. And like, I love, there's like a saying, my audience calls it Cocoisms. Like, I always say like the opposite of trendy is timeless. And so like, if you want to be timeless or you want to move things in your direction, you can't always chase trends. So I think my advice is always like more holistic. Or I love like when artists are down to like start almost like fan accounts, you know, post things like from a third perspective. It's really their team posting it, but like it just goes so much more viral. And so I love when people are down for unconventional tactics, because that's kind of where I come in.
I love that. Do you talk about this work that you do a lot?
I do on like podcasts like this because people I think are always fascinated at like the business side of how I make my money. So I'm like an open book. Obviously I don't really like to say, I'll like say client names off camera, but like on camera, I don't know. I don't want to blow up their spot, and like I'm being paid for the confidentiality. But people do ask me. I don't talk about it in my content as much though. I used to, but because like I said, I don't want to always be talking about the cool people. I just want to get in a room with them and like make videos with them, even if it means I'm leaving money and views on the table. Like I'm at a point in my career where I'm at a crossroads, and like I'm just trying to elevate and like just be the person interviewing the cool people. Not always making a green screen like deep dive, like, oh my God, like I have to like, what did this person do today? Like, oh my God, like I don't know, I feel like you're like chasing, like you're on a hamster wheel. So
absolutely. So where do you think that all of this is going? Like, you make predictions every day based on, hey, we're going to start to see this aesthetic, or hey, this is kind of what I'm seeing. But I guess to say, like, where's it all going in 5 years? Maybe too big of a question with like AI and stuff. But in the near future, what kind of stuff are you like seeing industry-wise?
So like not just my content, you're saying like holistically.
Yeah, overall. And then we can go to your content too.
Okay, so holistically, I actually think
maybe we do 2026, like as a...
What's a trend? Yeah, what's
like,
going to trend or what's going to happen?
What do you think we're going to see?
I think in 2026, we're going to
like, we don't need to go to the tarot reader, like you're in.
Right. Okay, so 2026, and we kind of saw this in 2025, but the rise of more long-form written content because videos are just so saturated. So like you saw that with Substack, for example, and now Charli XCX launched a Substack. Lizzo launched a Substack. Rosalia launched a Substack. Like, I think that we're seeing the rise of this like more written, kind of like going back to the old days of the internet, just because again, videos are so oversaturated. And even if you're the most famous person in the world, I always say like the shorter the video, the shorter the object permanence. So you can have a 10-second video go viral of you doing a dance to your song that's coming out. And even if it gets 10 million views, like people don't remember it because they scroll to the next video. Like I always like to ask, like, you probably can't recite to me the last 10 TikToks you saw. Like, what was the username? What was the video about? What was the top comments? You might not be able to tell me, but if I ask like, what's the last podcast you listened to, or what's the last article you read, you might be able to tell me what it was about, what publisher was it on, like Vogue, or was it a creator? So short form is always going to be viral, but I think we're seeing that pendulum swing to long form. I think smart creators and smart creatives are leaning on long form to have that object permanence. I hate like nostalgia in the sense that it's so big on all movies are like recreations of like a new Hunger Games or whatever. And like, let's get new IP. But even like the trend that's happening on Instagram right now is like 2016 is the new. Yeah. I think that's also like really fascinating because it's like the opposite of AI, because like all those photos were taken before AI.
Yeah.
So I almost think it's going more viral. I think like old content we're gonna start seeing on TikTok like YouTube videos that were posted in 2007 like go viral or something. Like I think there might be something there, or people filming with technology that's like older to give it that look. Basically any sort of medium or filming that like existed pre-AI is gonna go viral because people are gonna be like trying to filter out AI content, even though AI is just gonna be able to replicate it anyways.
Yeah. With like a little filter.
Yeah. I also think mistakes like are gonna go viral. Like I know that sounds weird, but like for me, one of my biggest insecurities is my dyslexia and like saying things wrong, or sometimes like you'll flip certain words or whatever. But I actually think that that's like AI proof. Like people almost kind of like will gravitate towards mistakes. So that's kind of my thought. But I really think like Substack and long form is like brands like Rare Beauty launched a Substack that's viral. Just like long form written content is like where the pendulum's swinging.
Are you recommending to brands to go on Substack?
I do love when brands are on Substack because one, I'm also like not sponsored by Substack. I'm like a Substack bestseller. I don't like post as much anymore. I paused it because I like wanted to work on Middle Row. But I do love Substack. I love their team, but I'm not endorsed by them. I think that Substack, if you think about the user who's on Substack, it's someone who's a little more sophisticated because they have time, and they also just have the attention span to consume long form written content. That's someone who's probably like college educated, maybe works pink collar, white collar jobs.
What's a pink collar job?
It's like jobs that like women go into often in the corporate world, like marketing, PR.
Okay.
Yeah, like I probably like would be considered pink collar.
Yeah.
But like the Substack consumer is someone who is willing to spend money on subscriptions so they have more disposable income. They're the type that's going to like really ride for you and like buy. If you come out with a product, they probably have disposable income versus people like on TikTok, it might be surface level, and also TikTok people, they just see hundreds of creators in a day. But on Substack, they might only be reading one article a day because there's not as much coming out. I think of Substack right now is it feels the way TikTok felt when I was working on it in 2019, where it had this like interesting consumer base. It was like Gen Alpha, Gen Z, but like they hadn't made anyone famous yet, and they were hungry to make people famous. They needed that Charli D'Amelio. They needed that Brittany Broski to show that like this app is a player. And I think Substack feels that way right now. Like they're really pushing people in the algorithm. Now there's celebrities on it. There's brands that are getting on it. And I think that like if brands are on Substack, it just shows that they're really thoughtful about their content. Yeah, there's some really cool brands like Rare Beauty that are on Substack and like killing it.
What would you say to brands that don't have budget necessarily to spread themselves that thin and do it well? You know, like that there are so many sayings of like, do only a few things and do them all very well versus get on every single platform like splat. What's your thoughts on that?
I totally agree with that. I love like saying that if you're good at everything, you can't be great at one thing.
Like jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes. Yeah. So I think one is like know what you're good at. Like you don't have to get on Substack. Like even when I was consulting for, brands and they would talk about being on TikTok or certain TikTok trends, or even they'd be like, do we need to do like TikTok live or whatever? I'm like, you don't really have to do every medium, like if it doesn't make sense for you. So I think that if they want to get on Substack, but they feel spread thin, I would say make it so that you can kill multiple birds with one stone with one post. So like on Substack, if you're writing an article, like instead of coming up with a bunch of different Instagram carousels that week, just have your Substack article and pull snippets from it. Basically like whatever your longest form content is, pull your smaller social media bits from that versus just doing social media bits that don't have any
so working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your approach to your own audience? Because you're obviously giving a lot of marketing tips and stuff on TikTok, but then a couple of days ago, you did a post very vulnerably to camera about being boring.
Oh, yes.
Which was so interesting because it's lifting the veil on what you are known for, obviously drawing people in. Yeah. But you have, how many followers do you have on TikTok now? 1.1?
Like 1.1 million, yeah.
It's obvious no one thinks you're boring. Oh. But also it was like really eye-opening for me because it drew us in so much closer to just be like, as like an audience member. I loved it. And I'm really glad that you did it.
Yeah, like so for my audience, I think of them in different buckets. And like for me, those videos where I'm talking directly to camera, I know people say like parasocial, but I feel parasocial towards my audience.
What does
like,
parasocial mean?
It means it's like a one-sided social dynamic. Okay. So like me, I'm probably parasocial with like Charli XCX. Yeah. Like I love her and like I feel like I know her, but like she doesn't know me, Joe from Schmo. Like she doesn't know who I am. I think that like for me though, I feel really safe with my audience and I feel really connected to them. I do. And I think I mentioned maybe even in that video that I really do believe in the powers of the algorithm. And I do feel that like my video surfaces to the right people that can like give me advice. I think the algorithm's really, really intelligent in that way. I feel feel like I have certain types of my audience where I know this is going to be more surface level. This is going to go viral, but it's maybe just because I'm talking about Ariana Grande. It's going to hit people that are interested in Ariana Grande, but they're maybe not interested in me, but that's okay. Like that helps pay the bills. But then whenever I'm pulling the veil back like that, I do feel that I'm connecting directly to my audience, and there's no incentive behind that other than just honestly like companionship and wanting to connect with my audience. I meet a lot of my audience like out when I'm in LA and New York City specifically, because that's where my biggest audience is. And actually Australia is the third one. But I always feel like the people that come up to me that know me are like the coolest person in a room. They're always like marketing girls or marketing guys. I always feel when I'm meeting my audience, like this is like the coolest person in the room. Like I feel like I have this interesting audience that I trust their advice and I trust their perspective.
Yeah.
And so whenever I am making videos like that where I'm maybe asking for advice versus adding value, I really take to heart what my audience is saying. I really do feel like deeply connected to my audience. And I also think a lot of that bond came from, this is so random. This time last year, I was making a lot of videos, and I know this is like a hot button topic. I was making videos about the Blake Lively thing because like I say I'm team truth, which is like happens to be on Blake Lively's side. That's just my opinion. I don't know. But I really felt this like respect from my audience that I really appreciated, where even if some of my audience didn't agree with me on this topic, there was this like safe space where we could talk about it. And my audience, I think, understood in that moment that they don't always have to agree with me on everything, and that's okay. I don't know if that's also just getting older. I stopped catering to my audience as much and was just being like, this is how I feel. And if you guys like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And I think that gave me a deeper connection to my audience, that they know that I'm not just like performing for them or like a monkey that's just going to dance for them. Like I think they know that I'm only making videos if I really believe in it, and I trust them. Like I trust my audience. Like I trust their advice.
It's interesting when we talk about so much like business minded, creating a show, having IP. Yeah. And then it's like someone broke up with me for reason X. They're so different. But then they're all one in the same, because the audience member is shopping with the brand deal, with the whatever, listening to music, doing all of that. But then they're also probably going through something somewhat similar if somebody broke up with me for some bullshit reason. Catering to that and being aware of that and being okay with that. Do you think about it, or are you just like now in the mix of my audience is fine? Like did it take you a long time to get there?
I do think about it a lot because I am a super like private person, which sounds weird. Like I keep my name off the internet. You would think I'm in like witness protection. I'm not, but like I keep my name off the internet. Yeah. When I worked at BuzzFeed, I never revealed that info because I was always like, if I make a mistake and I get canceled, like I don't want it to fall on my coworkers and like BuzzFeed get in trouble. Even like my romantic relationships, like, I mean, I haven't gone on a date in over a year. So I'm like, if anyone's listening, if you're cute, like let me know. Set me up.
Yeah. But, Australian boys are very good looking.
Australian boys, yes, please.
Australia.
Yes, hit me up. But I'm very, very private. I even have a sister who's pretty big on TikTok in the food space, and no one knows that we're sisters.
Okay.
We don't acknowledge each other at all because we're like, if one of us gets canceled, we don't want the other one to be impacted by that. So like,
interesting.
I even making that video talking about my ex so he had cheated on me, but the reason that he said he cheated on me was because I'd become boring to him. And even making that video a year after our breakup, I was really cognizant of the information I was revealing because it was still kind of out of respect for him because he's very private. He's not in the public eye at all. Like we were together before I even had an audience. So like out of respect for his privacy, I really value like human connection. And even when I'm out and about and I'm meeting people that to me are like famous or exciting, my friends are like, why don't you take a selfie with them? I'm like, I don't know. I just want to like, I want to like make eye contact with them and like have a conversation. Yeah. Even that video I posted, like to answer your question, I'm super cognizant of everything I'm revealing about myself. I don't film my friends in my content, even if they're public figures. Like, I don't want them to feel like I'm ever monetizing or exploiting that relationship. I don't know. I'm just always aware that this can end. And like, I want to be able to like disappear if I want to. So I try not to reveal a ton of info.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And you said that you were like, you want to be able to disappear. And then the psychic said that
for 18 years.
For 18 years.
So I'm like, what's going to happen on the 19th year?
Yeah,
we'll find out. Yeah.
If we were to talk about, we mentioned what's going to happen for 2026, like where you think it's all going. Where do you think it's all going for you?
I hope that my show has like a really viral moment. It's had some good moments on TikTok and stuff because of the people I'm interviewing. Like, I can tell when they have a viral moment because my videos will resurface on the For You page. I hope I have a viral moment. I hope that I get acquired or invested in by like a bigger media company. Like, I would love that. But like, on my own terms. Like, I wouldn't want to sell the IP completely, but I would love to like be like taken under the wing of like a media company.
What kind of media companies?
Maybe like a streaming platform if they're investing in shows.
Like the recent deals with Netflix, like that?
Yeah.
Those
like
lines?
that would be amazing.
Okay.
I would love something like that.
I'm more asking because I'm like, like I wonder who she's thinking of.
Yeah. Like a Netflix or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Then I hope that I can get a little more like personal because I am so private, but I really do feel like I can still reveal some stuff about myself. I'd love to get like, you know, I never really thought I would go on a reality show, but like if I could go on like a dating reality show or something, like I would do it because I like actually do want to challenge myself and put myself out there as long as they would let me like not use my real name. I don't know.
I mean, well, it's out there now. That's amazing.
So like I would love to go on a reality show, I think.
Okay.
I think I would love it because like I love reality TV.
Same.
Right.
I learned really early on in filmmaking and also in acting when people are improvising from that piece, when somebody's just like going for it and you leave the cameras rolling. If you just let somebody say what they're going to say. Also from a job interview piece, if you were to be like, what's your relationship status like right now? And I'd be like, I have a boyfriend. But if you just paused and left me to speak, I would probably reveal much more than what you asked.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
You go quiet and then you let them.
Yeah. So if like ask me a question about like my personal life that I can give you a short answer or I can give you a long one right now.
Do you like living in the city that you're in?
Yeah, I do. I'm in a really nice area called South Yarra, but it's kind of like it's a little bit boring because of the infrastructure of the city. Like it's not. I mean, it's Australia, so that's why we also have the place now in Sydney. So I've just told you like 3 more things that you didn't know.
That was so hard
you
for
know
me too,
not
to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? But like with the pause, it's kind of like, well, the person naturally like wants to give you more information.
Okay.
I found.
That's really good.
I've trained myself to do that. If you listen to the early episodes, because I edit them all myself a lot of the time, I'm very like, shut up, Arielle. Like,
yes.
You know?
It's hard editing yourself.
Very.
Sometimes I like hate, like, I've gotten over it, but in the beginning I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. So we were talking about
reality. Like if I would.
Reality, yes. And I was like Love Island, but like I just don't have the ass for Love Island. Like I feel like they like really need a girl with a booty on that
I couldn't
show.
like make out. I don't like that they have to make out all the time. I'm like, oh my, I feel bad for the people on Love Island. I'm like, they're being exploited. Like this is crazy.
And they're like in bed. I don't think I could sleep with a stranger in a bed.
Or they do challenges where they have to like put ketchup in their mouth and like spit it in the next. I'm like, that's like actually so exploitative.
It's like soft porn.
Yes,
literally.
Yeah, it has to be fetish.
And the
content.
way that those girls wear the skimpy things and the outfits and like the angles that they get on camera.
I know this is such like a stars aligning, so I don't know if it would ever happen for me, but like if I did reality TV, I would want it to be on a show that like has a long-standing cast. So like Vanderpump Rules, for example, like it was fascinating because those people were on it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be on like a Bachelor where it's like you're on it and then you're gone.
Yeah, okay.
Like I would want to be on a show that like is like more of like but then like there'd have to be something interesting there. So I would have never done reality TV in the past, but I think now I'm trying to get to a place where I'm like relinquishing control a little bit. I just want to be like genuinely real. Like even if that's like polarizing or some people don't like certain things about me, I want to be okay with that. And I think that would be a good practice in getting there.
It's been interesting with the podcast. I do an episode called A Petite every month, and it's basically my way of telling everybody what I'm up to and the struggles that I'm having. There's a lot of things that come up for me all the time because I am a woman in business. I'm in a male-dominated industry in Australia. I'm attempting for the podcast to interview globally. I have 3 businesses, the production company process, and I also have a Remy gummies. They're little energy gummies. I'll give you some. They're really good.
Yes.
They just get you over like the 3 p.m. slump.
I need that.
They're really good. I'm there on the fucking front line reporting to the troops what I'm seeing and what we're doing and just how hard it is to like resilience. The last episode that I dropped, it's Thursday today. On Tuesday, I put it out and I was like, I need to scale my business and we need to do it with systems. I've had a hard time with systems because I realized recently they're kind of like therapy. in a way. I realized recently that I repel systems because my body's been in fight or flight mode for about 20 years because of family trauma. And so my body is like so used to what's due today. What are we doing? Oh, fuck, that deadline. Oh my God, because it's aligned in parallel with the nervous system, kind of the way that I settled into life and knew what adulthood looked like. And now when somebody presents me with a system, I'm like, what do you mean? That's so boring. That's not me. That's misaligned. Hang on. No, we're not delivering right. So chaos feels like productivity.
That's so good. That's a bar.
Yeah, but it's like, how do we move through that as creatives? Because the majority, I think, of creatives that feel so much, we are actually quite trauma riddled, probably. Like we all have a lot going on, and that's kind of why we're all here.
Yes.
It's interesting to scale when we've got baggage and be vulnerable with baggage, because it's like, well, what's too much? How do I say this without giving you too much context? It's a really interesting place to be.
I know. I also think like a lot of people that become creators, or even like music artists, I've noticed this is like no shade because I'm a creator too, but like a lot of times they're really actually awkward in social settings or awkward in person. And I think that's why they go into like, you have to be crazy to like talk to yourself for hours a day. You know what I mean? Like that's someone who's like maybe a little like socially awkward. And like, I think me as I've gotten older, I think I'm actually quite extroverted, but a lot of the most like brilliant, successful, famous creators that I've met are so awkward in person. Not in like a bad, like I'm not like, oh, I'm judging them. It's just like they can't really hold a conversation, but like on camera, on TikTok, they have 10 million views being like, blah, 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 like alone in their room. And so I think like us creators too, we might come off as like extroverted or social butterflies, but a lot of the time the reason they went into this job is because they maybe needed an outlet because they were like feeling misplaced in social settings.
Which is crazy to then be like, okay, hang on, how now we monetize that?
Yes.
And it's even weirder to have people around you like an agent and brand deals wanting a piece of that.
Yeah, you make such a good point. That's another thing is like, I am really fascinated. I always think my corporate background has really helped me because there's a lot of creators that get famous young or whatever it might be, and they cannot run a business to save their lives. They don't know how to build out a team, and no one taught them. Like they never even had a job at McDonald's, let alone like this. Like I'm still like, I worked like every job under the sun even before I went into marketing.
So you can self-manage and
self-manage. Yes.
The adulting has happened.
The
You've ticked boxes.
Yes. Understanding teamwork, understanding timelines, like understanding what's even like professional to say in a business meeting versus a business dinner. Like there's just certain nuances that I feel like some creators or creatives, some music artists too, that this happens to, they never had that like muscle, and they maybe leave money on the table or don't end up lasting for a long time because they don't have the infrastructure around them. They don't know how to build that out. Like I think so much of success isn't even necessarily being that talented as a creator. A lot of the times it's like knowing the right people, having the right systems built out.
Yeah, it's wild because usually we hit rock bottom and then we're like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. So then you like almost have a second becoming when you're like have your shit together and you like have an Elle Woods moment of being like, okay, I'm going to try it.
When your frontal lobe develops, you're like, oh, wait, that's how I should probably run a team. And
absolutely. I love to ask people in similar situations to you, looking at process where you've hit the nail on the head saying that you can't read the ingredients from inside the jar. I work as like a social strategist in my job and have blown up $1 billion businesses, TikToks and Instagrams, and done all that stuff for them. But then when I look at process, I'm like, no, it's not even about me. It's about the guest. Yeah. What advice do you have for me as being a girly? Oh,
I'm so sorry.
No, your 11:11 alarm just went off, which I love so much.
I have it on every day.
Oh my God.
But
do you wish for the same thing?
No, it usually is like based on my mood. Yeah. I'll be like, I want a boyfriend this day. I'm like, I want this brand deal. No. So it kind of changes.
Okay. I love that you do that.
Yes. But you're talking about systems, or you've built out big brands, but then you're like.
And then for me, like it's really inspiring to chat with a creator like you in LA that is doing the thing. You're doing it. You're going to appointments, meetings, you're recording the podcasts, you're growing, you're doing all the stuff. I'm that person that's potentially a little bit more shy and I can get out of my own way, but I don't prioritize it. What advice would you have for me as a creator?
I hate when people give advice. It's like, just be yourself. Like, what does that mean? Like, oh my God, I hate that advice. My advice that's actually tangible is if you want to be a creator, like, and make money full time, you have to come up with a format that's repeatable and that's like unique to you. So if that's going on TikTok and being like, whatever your topic might be, you have to have a repeatable format that you can do over and over and over again. That is so important in monetizing and standing out versus just hoping you go viral. For me, I didn't quit my corporate job until I really knew that I had like some formats that were like I could rely on. So I would say that is like get your format down. Sometimes it is just like timing. I think people put so much pressure on themselves being like, I have to go viral right now for this thing. But like sometimes like just practicing that muscle, eventually like the stars do align for whatever reason. Yeah. I think that forcing yourself to go viral or like forcing yourself to want to be somewhere, those are uncontrolled variables, but what you can do is make sure that you have the systems in place and you're the most aligned for when that opportunity does come, you can sustain it because you never know what that might be. Like for me, I think when I went viral doing the trend predictions in like August of 2023, I had such a muscle built up from the corporate side and also from even doing like tarot and astrology videos. That sounds so funny, but like I built this muscle of content creating that when I did go viral, I had everything ready to like sustain it. Like I had my scheduling down. I knew what times of the day the lighting was best in my room to film. Like I knew what microphones I like to use. I knew like what my system was. So I always say like you never know when your opportunity is going to come. Just make sure you have everything ready so that when it does come, you're like, boom.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that as a creator, the way that this has kind of come to be, I've got a podcast studio that I built in my apartment in Melbourne. We now have a podcast studio in Sydney, but then internationally I'm just kind of like flying all over the world. Now I think of it, I'm like, it should have just been in random hotel rooms the whole time because also I was raised in hotels.
See, that's aligned with you. That's something no one else can replicate.
Yeah.
I think that's so fascinating.
Yeah, which is so weird. Hotel rooms are so odd because you bring everything that you have into a room and then you leave exactly as you left. Yeah. You bring all your, like we're little people with sticks with those little sackies on our backs being like, woo, here's all my stuff that I need.
It's like purgatory. It's like this odd in-between.
Yeah.
And I also think like for your show and like filming in hotels, something that could make it really interesting is that I think being in hotels, there's something really intimate about it.
Yeah.
And so either the guest is revealing things that maybe feel more intimate that they wouldn't reveal on a show, on a podcast studio, and or the audience feels an intimacy with the guest. Say like that guest goes on 10 other podcasts that week, your show might feel more intimate to the audience and be more memorable than the same studio setup that everyone else uses. Yeah, and eventually too, it would be monetizable because like hotels would pay you to be like, I filmed at this hotel. And also like hotels, certain hotels are seen as like a luxury. So then your branding would be luxurious. Then you would get certain brand deals and stuff that are more elevated than like a flat tummy tea or something. Like you could do like a Chanel brand deal. Yeah. If you're tied to these luxury hotels. Oh my God, that might be your format.
Yeah, wow.
I feel like every time you're in a hotel too, even if you don't have a guest, you should like film a TikTok. Just don't even acknowledge that you're in the hotel, but just the setting.
Yeah. Hotels are fascinating and they are a huge part of my life.
Yeah, you have such this like elevated branding, like just from your background that like even like, let's just say like 10 other creators saw your series and like, or saw clips go viral of you in a hotel room and like launched something similar. Like you have a background that they can't replicate. I feel like your show would be interesting because I would trust your knowledge of hotels over someone else. And what's not. Yeah. Like I would trust your advice of like where you're staying and why you're staying there and what's the best hotels in each city, like what to look for. Interesting. Even if it's just the background of your podcast.
But then I'm here and I'm like staying, I've already booked in and I'm like, well, the fucking elevator's broken. We've had all these mistakes. And then I'm all of a sudden promoting the hotel.
I know.
And I'm like, wait, hang on. This is not aligned.
I know.
So maybe we need like a rehearsal stay.
Yes.
To like test them out.
Yes, test them out.
We're auditioning hotels for LA it's like
this
Keith
week.
Lee.
Do you know who Keith Lee is?
No,
maybe because you're Australian. He's this really big American TikToker that does food reviews, but he like sends other people in to pick up the food and then he sits in the car and reviews it. But he's so famous that he doesn't want the restaurant to know. So he sends in like random people to pick the food up for him. So the restaurant isn't like making it better because they know Keith Lee is reviewing them.
Yeah, that's clever.
So maybe you could like go to hotel. You could like go to hotels and like test them out before like revealing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fun. Okay, well, it's been really fun to meet you.
This is great.
And
this is amazing.
I love it. And I'm really grateful that Jordan from Spotify introduced us.
I know.
But also it's really fun once you like get to that kind of level where people are wheeling and dealing and just doing intros and the doors really do open.
I know. I always say that I think the most successful people I've ever met are the ones that are like connectors, like what Jordan did for us. Like I really feel like the most like successful people in the industry that I've been around, and I've tried to learn it from them. They're like, oh, you do this. Oh, you would have in common with this person. Let me just put you guys on a call.
Yeah.
That's such a good quality that some people have.
Yeah, I love it. Yes. Okay, so what's on for you for the rest of the day? I
am going to the Universal lot, and I'm filming there's this show Access Daily. It's my first time doing it with Mario Lopez.
Yes.
And like
Mario Lopez is from Saved by the Bell.
Yes,
love him.
And I'm telling them about what the like trends are on TikTok
in Access Daily.
Yeah.
So it's going to be you on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just wanted to do it. Yeah, I've never done like where I'm reading a teleprompter and I'm like, I just want to like put myself out there and just see if I'd be good at it.
So
like
you're
just
in like
challenging
a yes era,
myself
for sure.
Yeah.
Did
just,
you pitch that or did they come to you?
No, they came to me.
Are you going to do this like ongoing?
If this one goes good, maybe.
Oh my God, I love this.
We'll see. So it's like a trial just to see for fun. But like worst comes to worst, it's just like we got to like do a cool segment and I think it'll be fun regardless.
Are you going to shoot like BTS and all the things?
I think I'm going to try to get like a photo with them and then maybe if they let me post a clip to my TikTok.
Okay.
I think that'd be fun.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, next time I'm in LA, if you do any fun things and you just need a bestie to come with you
and
film, let me know.
Rating.
I'll go. I want to come and like, no, if you need like a wingman to like film your BTS achieving your dreams. This is so fun.
This is so great.
But yes, a tarot reading. I've seen a lot on Melrose or La Cienega, but I'm kind of like, this is like,
you don't know.
I'll go on TikTok.
Look up reviews. Yeah, I think TikTok is like the best place because that's where people would just like organically be posting about it.
Okay, and I'm going to DM you with what my future holds.
Yes.
Imagine if it's like you need to come back to LA, then I'll be like, Coco, I need your help.
Yes. Oh my God, no, please. That would be amazing.
Okay, where can people find you?
Whatever platforms you guys prefer. Coco Mocoe.
She's on them all.
Yeah, I'm pretty much all of them except Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I always tell people like just whatever platforms they like the best. If you just search Coco Mocoe, I'll come up.
Okay, and Middle Row?
Middle Row with Coco Mocoe is my YouTube show, yes. So you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube.
Okay, amazing. Yay. Thank you so much.